There is a specific kind of dread that comes with realizing a triangle is better at its job than you are at yours. The Northrop B-2 Spirit is essentially just a geometry project that got out of hand. It is a flying wing. That is the technical term for it. It has no fuselage. It has no tail. It is just a massive, completely flat piece of metal that looks like a bat. If a bat had a $2 billion budget and no soul. It does exactly one thing: carry conventional and thermonuclear weapons across the globe without being seen. And it does it perfectly. I cannot even carry groceries from the car in one trip without dropping a jar of salsa. $2 billion. That is the unit cost of one single B-2 Spirit. You could buy a lot of things with $2 billion. You could buy an island. You could buy a mid-sized professional sports team. You could buy exactly one giant gray triangle that drops explosives. The military looked at the price tag and said yes. We will take 21 of them, please. I once spent $4 on a coffee that tasted like wet dirt, and I thought about it for a week. The scale of federal spending is something I cannot mathematically process. My brain just turns it into white noise. But here is the thing about the B-2. It is not just expensive, it is a diva. The plane is coated in a highly classified radar-absorbent material. This material is so delicate that the plane has to be kept in specialized climate-controlled hangars. It cannot get too hot. It cannot get too cold. It cannot be exposed to too much moisture. It is a weapon of mass destruction that requires the exact same environmental conditions as a rare orchid. I have killed 3 succulents this year alone by watering them on a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday. I would absolutely ruin a B-2 bomber. I would leave it out in the rain and the stealth coating would wash off, and then it would just be a regular, very expensive triangle. Let us talk about radar cross-section. The entire point of the B-2 is that it is invisible to radar. It has a wingspan of 172 feet. That is half a football field. But on a radar screen, it looks like a large bird. It looks like a pelican. Imagine being a radar operator and you see a pelican flying at Mach 0.95 at 50,000 feet. You would probably just assume the pelican was having a really good day. The sheer audacity of building something massive and making it pretend to be small is deeply funny to me. It is the aerospace equivalent of wearing a large coat and hoping no one notices you are stealing a television. The B-2 achieves this by having no flat vertical surfaces. Radar waves hit the angled surfaces and bounce off into space instead of returning to the receiver. It deflects attention. I do this too. When someone asks me how my life is going, I immediately ask them about their dog. It is the exact same principle. Deflect the signal. Do not let them see your true shape. People look at the B-2 and they think about aliens. When it was unveiled to the public in 1988, everyone thought it looked like a UFO. We as a culture are obsessed with the idea that the government is hiding extraterrestrial technology from us. We want to believe that the B-2 was reverse engineered from a crashed saucer in Roswell. But that is the obvious take. The much more terrifying reality is that it looks completely human. Aliens did not build the B-2 Spirit. Humans did. We did. We spent decades and billions of dollars figuring out the exact aerodynamic properties required to slip into a foreign country unnoticed and evaporate a city block. It is a monument to human ingenuity. It is the peak of our scientific achievement. We mapped the human genome. We put a man on the moon. We figured out how to make an airplane invisible so we could blow things up better. I am writing this and realizing I have spent 20 minutes researching the thrust-to-weight ratio of a military aircraft instead of paying my electric bill. The structure of this video is falling apart, and I am just letting it happen. Anyway, with that said, the B-2 has 4 General Electric turbofan engines buried deep inside the wing to hide their heat signature. Even the exhaust is cooled before it leaves the plane. It produces no contrails. It produces no thermal footprint. It is a ghost. I find the concept of invisibility exhausting. Imagine having to try that hard to not be perceived. The B-2 requires 119 hours of maintenance for every single hour of flight. 119 hours. The ground crew has to carefully inspect and tape over every single panel gap with specialized radar-absorbing tape before it can fly. If a single screw is loose, the radar cross-section increases and the plane becomes visible. The pressure must be unimaginable. You tape over a panel wrong and suddenly a multi-billion-dollar aircraft shows up on a screen in a hostile nation. I once put a piece of tape over my laptop webcam because I read an article about hackers. The tape left a sticky residue. Now all my video calls look like I am broadcasting from inside a jar of mayonnaise. I am not cut out for the stealth lifestyle. I do not actually hate it. I'm just deeply unsettled by things that lack a recognizable anatomy. A normal airplane has a nose and a body and wings and a tail. You can look at a Boeing 747 and understand what it is. You look at a B-2 and your brain just receives a syntax error. It is a flying Dorito, a very dark, very threatening Dorito. Let us consider the humans who operate this machine. The B-2 has a crew of two people sitting in a cramped cockpit inside a giant wing for missions that can last up to 44 hours. They fly from Missouri to the Middle East, drop their ordnance, and fly back to Missouri without ever landing. They refuel in the air. You try sitting in a chair next to a coworker for 44 hours without committing a crime. You cannot do it. There is a small space behind the seats where one pilot can unroll a sleeping bag and take a nap on the floor. There is also a microwave. There is a toilet. It is essentially a very lethal studio apartment. Imagine eating a microwaved Hot Pocket while flying at the edge of the stratosphere, completely invisible to the world beneath you, carrying enough firepower to alter the course of human history. The contrast between the mundane human requirement of eating a Hot Pocket and the apocalyptic capability of the aircraft is jarring. High stakes and low sodium. I think about the pilot trying to sleep on the floor. He rolls over. The sleeping bag is scratchy. He looks up at his co-pilot who is staring at a green screen. The co-pilot says, "Are you asleep?" The pilot says, "No, my leg is cramping." The co-pilot says, "Do you want me to microwave a burrito?" The pilot says, "No, I'm fine, just fly the giant triangle." The co-pilot says, "Okay." Neither of them has blinked in an hour. I do not know why I care about an airplane. I am fundamentally opposed to war. I think dropping explosives on people is objectively bad, but I am also mesmerized by the sheer scale of the effort. We try so hard. We try so incredibly hard to build things, to solve problems, even when the problems are terrible. There is a kind of tragic beauty in watching thousands of brilliant minds collaborate to build an invisible doom triangle. I wish we could point that energy at something else. I do not know what. Maybe a better public transit system, but a bus does not look like a bat. A bus does not evade radar. When I was 12 years old, I used to hide in my closet, not for any traumatic reason. I just liked the quiet. I would sit on the floor underneath the hanging shirts, and I would try to breathe as silently as possible. I would listen to my mother walking around the house, and I would see how long I could go without being noticed. It was a game, but it was also a coping mechanism for being alive. I just wanted to be invisible. I wanted to occupy space without registering on anyone else's radar. I think about that when I look at the B-2. I think about the desire to slip through the world unseen, the appeal of being a ghost. Except the B-2 is a ghost that drops 2,000-pound bombs. When I came out of the closet, my mother just asked me to set the table for dinner. She did not even know I was missing. I'm still not sure if that was a victory or not. If you found this video interesting, you can like it. There is a button for that. If you would like to see future videos, you can subscribe. There is also a button for that. Both buttons are in the same general area. I trust you will figure it out.